right, we'll jump right in. Welcome everyone to the meeting of the Maryland Center for School Safety Subcabinet meeting. It's great to see everyone virtually. Hopefully everyone's having a great summer. We don't have a long agenda today, but a short or long, always a very important topic to ensure the health and safety of our students and the hard work that the subcabinet invests its time in. So I thank you guys for joining us today and for our public viewers. With that, I'll ask if there's any additions to the agenda, either from the team or anyone else. So I'll pause for that. Okay, seeing none, I think we're good. We can dive right into the agenda items, and I'll let Kate and her team take over. And then wherever we have to vote, we will make sure to stop for any discussions and then move forward. With that, Kate, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, as Mr. Chabot said, it is nice to see everybody, although virtually. So if we can have the next slide. So the first item on the agenda is just a recap of our summer conference. Jim Hott is going to talk through how the conference went. We've got a short little video, which hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties sharing with you. But I am going to turn it over to Jim Hott, who was the co-chair along with Jessica McNeil in putting together this year's annual school safety conference. So Jim.
Thank you, Kate. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I just want to, first off, I want to start off by thanking our team at the center for coming together, banding together, and putting forth a wonderful conference. We have a lot of good feedback from our attendees. And just to give you a short, brief overview, we had 360 registrants for the conference. We had 210 attendees for Tuesday, which was 72%. And then we had 144 attend on Wednesday. There were some things that had come up through local school systems, I think, that were prevented some people from attending on those days that wish they'd have been able to be there. We did have a 2-day conference. It was at the Maritime Conference Center in Linthicum Heights. We had 4 keynote sessions and 15 different breakout sessions. So the only thing I want to talk about is really just a couple of the comments that people left for us. They were overwhelmingly appreciative of the student focus group members who were provided a presentation on social media usage. That was a very big hit. The most common comment that we had over the 2 days and in the surveys so far is that they were glad to be back in person. They were very happy to be there, happy to see each other, and happy to network with one another. Many liked the diversity in topics, and there's one comment that I wanted to pull out that I thought was really well for us. It says the presenters were very high quality experts in their fields. The event was very well organized, and the folks were very friendly. So we can't ask for anything more. We had a lot of good speakers. We had a lot of great topics. We're looking forward to next year. But we did have something this year that we haven't had in the past, is we have Aaron Chuziano, who was able to provide us a video of the conference and a video recap. And this video is excellent. It can talk a lot more than and a lot better than what I can about how impactful this conference was. So I just want to thank you all. I want to thank my team. And we want to let you see what the highlights of the video are. Thank you.
Can you guys hear that? The sound from the video?
No, the sound isn't on.
Okay.
No, if you stop sharing, Jan, stop sharing,
Sure.
and then share again and click the audio button.
right, let's try now.
Perfect.
Well, the conference theme is School Safety Collaborative Approach, and it's all about finding speakers in our state that do wonderful things that aren't on a daily basis known about, and we're able to share that here, and through that our partners across the state learn more about what they do, and maybe they could apply that to their jurisdictions as well.
Purpose of attending this conference was to definitely learn what's going on and stay abreast with the students' behavior and learn about the challenges and find ways to address it in our community.
I'm a supervisor of student support in Frederick County Public Schools, where I focus on implementation of restorative practices across our entire county. We think about it as a whole child approach, similar to what we've heard today here at the conference.
This is Aaron Gisano with the Maryland Center for School Safety here at our summer conference, and I'm with Sergeant Rebecca Corrado and Nevada. And you guys are with...
We're with the Frederick Police Department. We're school resource officers. We received Nevada a year ago, so she's been with us for just a short time. But in that time, we've used her to kind of bridge the gap with our students. Maybe they don't feel comfortable with the officer. Maybe they'd prefer to just talk to the dog, and that's perfectly fine. It's non-confrontational. It's non-judgmental.
And I'm here with Claire, who just gave, alongside Henry, an amazing keynote speech to our school safety community. Claire, I just want to say, what was your driving factor to be here today?
It's the students. I'm so passionate about working with students. I'm so passionate about school safety, and I feel the student voice is so important to share.
So this is my third year working with the center. I initiated the student focus group back in 2020. People really understand how collaborative school safety is required to be.
And what are some ways you want fellow students to get engaged?
I really want the school safety chapter program to take off.
So we have a couple different engagement programs specifically designed for students. The one that I work most closely with is our student focus group.
What are you hoping to take away from the conference?
Knowledge that I didn't have before and information that I can use back at my school teams to implement. Like for the students that we saw this morning, just the information about social media, I knew none of that. None of it. I felt totally in the dark.
My name is Lynn. Kids call me the drug lady. But I have a degree in chemistry, biology, and psych, and I've done a lot of law enforcement with DEA and the North Metro Task Force. So I kind of come from like law enforcement background with science.
Watching your presentation and talking to some fellow staff members, where do we draw that line between giving all the information to children versus holding information? Where do you fall in that kind of thing?
I tell people all the time, the science shows talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. You're talking to them rather than the house that has drugs and the people are, forcing them through peer pressure, whatever, to try it first.
Here at the conference with representing NASRO, the National Association of School Resource Officers. I'm the Region 2 Director, which covers 6 states, and one of those states is Maryland. And it's always nice for a regional director to be able to make a state's conference. A lot of information I'm looking to take back.
Do you think you'll attend next year's conference?
Of course. I definitely would attend, and I might bring more people with me from my school to attend the conference, definitely.
It's our second time participating in this, first time in person though, so we're really happy that we're here today with you guys.
Definitely would come again and recommend it to anybody. It's very enlightening.
I heard one comment last night that said, there's not one thing that I have attended that I haven't learned something from. That's why we're here.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Aaron, for the great video. I'll open it up to any questions from the subcabinet on any of the content that was delivered or the conference in general. So, Mr. Chowdhury, I don't see any questions from the subcabinet on the conference. If you're ready, I can go on to the advisory board update.
That sounds good to me.
Great. So the advisory board had an incredible chair over the last several years. So Dr. George Arlotto, who was the local superintendent in Anne Arundel County, served as the chair of the advisory board from 2018 to 2022. He has left as chair, and now we are waiting on the governor's appointments office to appoint a new chair to the school safety subcabinet, to the advisory board, excuse me. So we are waiting for that announcement. We expect that to be coming soon. We just don't have it yet. There have been some other minor changes. Some folks have switched out, but as you all know, the advisory board is an incredible group of 24 individuals who are a cross section of school safety disciplines. So we have everything from public schools to private schools to non-public special education facilities. We have individuals with mental health expertise and law enforcement expertise. So really an incredible group. So the incoming chair will have a lot of work cut out for them over the next couple of years. So next slide. And so at this point, Mr. Chowdhury, I'm going to turn it over to Gifty Quarshi. So Gifty is our fiscal and grants manager. Gifty has 2 grants applications for the school safety subcabinet to review and consider and vote upon for the Safe Schools Fund. And so I will turn it over to Gifty to go through the applications for both Allegheny County and Charles County.
Just really quickly, Kate, are we skipping over the regulations, or you wanted to move the order in which you did that? Because I have it as C, item C.
I apologize.
It's up to you. We can switch it up. We can take care of the grants, and then we could do the regulations last or right after that.
We can switch. If you can move the slide ahead one, it looks like the slides got reversed. There we go. Okay, so we'll do the regulations. That is great. And then we can go back to the grant applications. We'll just move the slide back. So in preparation for the regulations, so we've had some regulations in place since 2019. Over the course of the summer, we've had an incredible intern with us from the university, or Mount St. Mary's University in Emmitsburg. He's a political science major. He's going to be a senior. He's been with us since June, and he's been working with the team to put together the updated proposed changes to the regulations. So I'm going to turn it over to Devin Pert. Devin, are you here with us?
Yes, thank you, Kate. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to be here today and participate in the meeting. Mr. Chairman, we are seeking permission to publish 2 different updates to 2 different regulations. The first being certification and training for school security employees and school resource officers. And we just had a couple updates, and the first one that I want to touch on, we're creating a separate definition for school safety coordinators. Before I continue, are there any questions on that change from anybody? All right, seeing no questions, I'll move on. The second change that we wanted to make is we're removing language that specified the number of hours for the model training. Were there any questions on that change?
All
right, okay. Moving on. We are also removing language on comparative compliance training. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Next, we are requiring SROs and SSEs to complete additional professional development on an annual basis. Are there any questions regarding that adjustment? All right, seeing as there are none. The last change to this regulation is we are requiring local superintendents to certify school security employees having completed the mandated training. Are there any questions on that final change? Okay, moving on. The next regulation that we are changing regards critical life-threatening incidents, and I will dive right into those adjustments. The first adjustment that we made clarifies the definition of a critical life-threatening incident. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Moving on. We are refining the definition of school grounds. Does anybody have any questions regarding changing the definition for school grounds? Okay. Next, we are requiring certain individuals to participate in after-action meetings. Does anybody have any questions regarding that change for the after-action meetings? Nope. Okay. Next, we are requiring after-action reports to be submitted by a certain designated date. Does anybody have any questions regarding the change to that? Okay. Next, we're requiring certain information to be provided in our after-action reports. Are there any questions regarding the new requirements for the after-action reports? Okay. Next, we're requiring MCSS to submit their mandated report even when a school system has not filed their report. Are there any questions regarding that change and that distinction? Okay, and the last change requires MCSS to develop and post guidelines to their website. Are there any questions regarding those guidelines and that change? Okay, seeing as there are none, Kate, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. And Mr. Chowdhury, I think we can vote or have the subcabinet vote on 144004. So the proposed amendments to regulation 144004, which is the certification and training for school security employees.
Yes, so we'll do them one by one. So the action is requesting permission to publish amendments to COMAR 144004, certification of school security employees and school resource officer. Do I have a motion to approve publishing and taking this action?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Pothier. We have a motion. Any discussions, any further discussions? Okay, a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone disagreeing with the motion or voting nay? Seeing none, with that, the motion passes. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the second item. So the action, again, for the public is to request permission to publish the amendments to COMAR 144005, critical life-threatening incidents. Do I have a motion to publish?
I'll move again for that.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Okay, move to approve. Do we have a second?
Colonel Jones will second.
Thank you, Colonel Joe. Seeing any other discussions? None. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any disagreement or nays? Seeing none, that motion passes. Thank you. We can move on to the grants.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chowdhury, and good morning, members of the subcabinet. Again, my name is Gifty Kwarshi. I have been with MCSS for a while, and I thank you for the opportunity to present these two grants for fiscal year 2023. So MCSS published the notification of funding availability for the fiscal year 2023 Safe Schools Fund grant on July 25th, 2022. The deadline for the local school systems to submit their applications is on Friday, September 30th, 2022. The fiscal year 2023 budget appropriation and funding allocation is in line with the last two previous years, as in $600,000 is appropriated for the Safe Schools Fund grant, and each local school system is allocated $25,000 to be used on school safety initiatives that fall within the allowable use of the fund as prescribed in the Safe to Learn Act of 2018. So today we have received two applications from two local school systems, as Kate mentioned, and those will be presented today for the subcabinet to review and approve. You do have the application packets for both school systems. So I will first start with the application from the Allegheny County Public School System. The application from Allegheny County Public School System is for $25,000, and they are requesting to use their allocation to continue to fund overtime pay for school safety officers that assist with school-based incidents. And this is for both inside the schools and outside their school buildings. Allegheny County Public School notes in their application that they continue to experience a high volume of school-based incidents. And in many cases, the school safety officers are called on to investigate these incidents, some of which occur during off hours and on weekends. And just a quick note, the subcabinet has reviewed and approved this request from Allegheny County Public School Systems, both in fiscal year 2021 and 2022. And with that, I will open it up for any questions or comments.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none in the chat. Or I think we're good. Can we move to approve? All right. There you go. I already have a motion. Are we, just really quickly, I want to make sure for the record, can we move to approve them collectively, or do I have to do them separately?
The grant application as a whole?
Yeah, both grant applications together. Do we have to do each district separately, or can, because I've sat in meetings where we've done them each separately.
Yeah, they often do them each separately if there's a reason to believe that there might be a need to discuss any of the portions thereof, right? But based on today's trajectory, I would suggest you just go ahead and do them both at the same time.
Okay, so I'm going to restate it, and the person who kindly did the motion. So we are going to collectively have to approve the grant applications for Allegheny County and Charles County. So do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Pothier. Can I get anyone second? Second by the chair. And with that, all in favor say aye.
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 Those disapproving, seeing none, motion passes. All right, we will move on to our next item, the final item before we talk about our next meeting. It's the school safety recommendations. Kate?
Yes, thank you. I think this meeting is going to make record time. So very quickly, so just as a reminder, last August, the School Safety Subcabinet asked that the advisory board spend the school year identifying recommendations that they see that the state, regardless of whether it was MCSS initiatives or just general school safety initiatives throughout the state, that they put those recommendations down and get them to the subcabinet. So that is the first document you have. That is the advisory board recommendations from last school year. You'll see that they're actually broken down in several observation areas. So we have, I believe the slide is up. If you could change the slide for me. So in addition to, so we have them broken down and categorized. So we have evaluation and data collection. We have recommendations under resources and training. We have recommendations from the advisory board under emergency preparedness, and then building and facility. So the question before the subcabinet is, are there any of the recommendations in the report from the advisory board that you would like the advisory board to focus on this coming school year, or any specific school safety topic that you would like the advisory board to drill down to, any sort of report or document or materials or other outcome that you would want the advisory board to do? I do want to note that there is one recommendation under building and facilities. I believe it is 10.1. Yeah, so recommendation 10.1. This would require collaboration between the IAC. So Arabia is on the representative of the subcabinet for the IAC, as well as MSDE and MCSS, to review existing facility security guidance and develop recommendations for minimum physical security in our facilities, to include both design minimums as well as technology. And very important for the advisory board was that any of those recommendations have the least negative effect on students. So I think including the student voice in that, our school safety or our student focus group could be a good resource for that. And I think there's a question from Arabia. Is that from? Yes.
Yes, so the IEC's executive team would like to make a recommendation for item 10.1 to be slightly modified. And the changes are in Maryland State Department of Education, including the Office of Schools Facilities and the center, in consultation with the IEC, should review existing facility security guidance. So that's the change. IEC is more than willing to provide facility expertise. The schools facilities branch, or the director of schools facilities, serves as a designee to the IEC and are familiar with the guidance and are equipped to assist with the development of these recommendations. The IEC, again, will provide facility expertise as needed.
I'm trying to understand the logic behind that recommendation. It just kind of looks like the work is being put on MSDE there, and then we just consult with you. And as a member of your board in IAC, as well as the head of MSDE, I would like further clarification on that before I could entertain something like that.
Okay, so I can go back to Alex, the acting director, and also Cassandra to get further clarification.
I appreciate it. I mean, we all work well together. I just want to make sure we don't, this is one of those matters that we all have to really put our collective minds on versus just put it on one organization. And so I'd like to not do something where it just kind of turns into, because I know how in consultation tends to work. I've been around for quite a bit to know that. And so I think for now, I'd like to keep it as is until we have further discussions internally.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Secretary Beatty has a question, I believe.
Yes, hi. So the Department of Disabilities has a question under emergency preparedness assessments. And Mr. Chair, would it be all right if I turn this over to my colleague at the department, Cecilia Warren?
I think that should be fine as long as council or does not tell me you can't have a guest speaker on your behalf. Council, is that okay?
That's fine, as long as you're fine with it.
I'm good with it.
Thank you so much. Cecilia?
Thank you, Secretary Beatty. This is Cecilia Warren. I'm the Policy Director for Emergency Preparedness at Maryland Department of Disabilities. My comment pertains to the Maryland Center for School Safety Report on Recommendations, page 4, under Emergency Preparedness and Assessments. We have a list of areas for review that are both programmatic and of the property itself. We feel it would be wise to include a bullet point that stipulates that there should also include an assessment of the accessibility of the property with a focus on egress and can people with disabilities self-evacuate. We know this topic has had intense focus at times over the last 4 years, and without a bullet point, it's something that may be overlooked. Thank you.
Kate, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, so Cecilia, just for clarification, that is in the second document, correct? Not the advisory board recommendations. That's under the emergency preparedness section of the document titled CLT recommendations, the second one.
The Maryland Center for School Safety recommendations, yes, not the advisory board.
Yes. So, Mr. Chair, MCSS would be fine with adding that, absolutely. So we can absolutely do that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
And if we'll change the slide, unless Mr. Chair, you had a question about the advisory board recommendations, I'll talk about the recommendations that Cecilia was mentioning. So one of the regulations you just passed, the critical life-threatening incident reports. So when an incident occurs at a public school, they have a certain amount of time to hold an after-action meeting and get us after-action reports. Last school year, we had 17 critical life-threatening incidents, and the recommendations in that report are the recommendations that came out of those 17 incidents. And if you look at the top section of that report, there's basically a top 10. So those are the 10 that we found as repeat recommendations that came out of multiple of those 17 incidents. So those, the majority of those focus on the emergency preparedness side. So that includes facility assessments, ensuring that their facilities have appropriate equipment and systems, and that the systems are checked and tested. Emergency planning, that they're actually conducting or updating their emergency plans, that they're making changes to their emergency plans given the recommendations that MCSS has provided after review of their plans, that they're conducting certain trainings, that they're doing emergency exercises to include tabletop exercises with their local response partners and school systems. And then finally, and really this one came out of multiple incidents, that is that they are monitoring the corrective actions. So they're identifying corrective actions and they're monitoring those corrective actions through completion. So really ensuring that they're following the entire cycle of preparedness when it comes to incidents that occur on school grounds and within their facilities. So that's really the nuance of the two reports. So the question before the subcabinet is, one of the things the subcabinet does is gives MCSS any recommended actions that they want us to take, any priority items that they want us to work on, if there's documents or guidance or specific resources that you really want the center to focus on. And again, the advisory board as well. We will want to take the advisory board items back to them, and then we will begin working on the items for anything you would like MCSS to prioritize over the next school year.
I think I'm seeing none. I would just say, making sure we put a special emphasis on preparing, especially through tabletop exercises and such. I think it is doing it in a way that does not, disrupt academics and take from time, but thoughtfully and strategically throughout the year. They're not necessarily one and done things. So I would make sure that the subcabinet and the staff really support our school systems in doing that well. I mean, there's ways to do it so it sticks in people's minds and as part of the culture versus kind of, a one and done type of thing. That's the one thing I would share. given various things can happen. I think we'll move on. I don't know if the silence means you have to focus on all of them. But they're all equally important. We'll move on. We have our next meeting coming up on November 14th. That would be shifting back to a hybrid format along with an in-person meeting. Is there anything else you would like to add or share, Kate, or anyone else for the good of the order before I move for that final motion so you can move on with your day?
Kate, can I just talk to them about the active assailant conference coming up so that they can share within their departments? So the state's active assailant interdisciplinary work group is hosting a day-long symposium on October 14th. That's a Friday in Annapolis at the DoubleTree. And the focus of the symposium this year is going to be on prevention and intervention of incidents of mass violence. Our keynote speaker will be Dr. Peter Langman, he's a clinical psychologist, and his research areas have focused heavily on mass violence, but his publications are all related to school shootings. But he also does research with the NTAC at the United States Secret Service, and he's been heavily involved in all of the Secret Service reports that you all have seen over the past few years as they've been increasing their programming. And then in the afternoon, we will have presentations related to state and local efforts on mass violence reduction, including new legislation that passed last session, and then a program related to grant funding and partnerships with our federal partners at the Department of Homeland Security CP3 program, the Office of Juvenile Justice Programs, and the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth and Victim Services. So it's free to apply. It's free to attend if you're selected to apply. We say apply because we may have more people apply to attend than we have space, but we do have room to accommodate just over 300 people. So the link is available. I can put that in the chat, or we can just send it out to you, and it's on the AAIWG website.
Great. Kate, anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, 10:40, 41-minute meeting, I think, if I time the last motion. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a great day, be safe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in person or hybrid. And thank you for our Subcabinet team and our council for continuing to ensure our students are safe and supporting our school systems. Thank you guys, appreciate it.